Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Football. My name is John Halpin, alongside my partner Chris Palma. How you doing today, my brother?
We're doing good, man. Another week in the books. A lot of fun happened over the weekend for sure. That is something.
Oh yeah, we had a fantastic week 4 of the NFL, and we have a fantastic week 5 of the NFL coming up this upcoming week. So, CP, are you ready? We'll just get right into discussing week 4. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start with last Thursday night football. The Seattle Seahawks coming to play the Arizona Cardinals, a divisional rivalry game, and the Seahawks coming away victorious 23-20. Man, Sam Darnold looks good in a Seahawks jersey.
Sam Darnold looks in anything that isn't a Jets jersey, apparently. This is now the second team that he has made better almost instantly as becoming a quarterback. Cardinals fall short, but again, they stuck in and they fight. They're still that scrappy team where you just can't really decide what you make of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to talk more Cardinals this week because they have a very interesting matchup for week 5. So we're going to talk more of them this episode, but the NFC West is looking very competitive on in that division. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on the NFC West and how it shapes up later on in the year. So let's move to Sunday's slate of games, starting in Dublin in the morning with the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Steelers coming away victorious 24-21. CP, I know you got a lot of thoughts on this game, so I'll just give the baton to you, my friend.
Well, this was probably the first time in years where things were finally on the same page for both sides of the ball the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, probably not the entire game, probably until about the last 7 or 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. That was when our defense decided to fall flat. We'll take the strong win. We move to 3-1. It's again, our schedule does us no favors from here out. So we have to continue to be prepared. I'm just glad we got a good win. We can do it in Europe. We got to do it in the States.
Absolutely. So the Steelers are on their bye week this week, so we won't get any Aaron Rodgers this week, but we'll have to keep an eye on the Steelers and the Vikings going forward the rest of the year. Let's move to Atlanta, where we had the Washington Commanders take on the Atlanta Falcons, and the Falcons getting the win 34-27. I got to say, Michael Penix putting up some good points. This was a strong team win for the Falcons.
Yeah, this was a much needed win. They took advantage of Jaden Daniels not being in due to injury. He should be back this week. So I think we should see a different Washington team coming in, but good strong win for the Falcons.
Absolutely. We'll again keep an eye on the NFC East and the NFC South, but good win for Atlanta. We're going to talk more Washington later on this episode. So let's move to actually who Washington will be playing next week. The Los Angeles Chargers against the New York Giants, and the Giants getting their first win of the year against the Chargers 21-18 in Jackson Dart's debut. However, Malik Neighbors appeared to have suffered a torn ACL. He will be out for the year. And again, we're really sorry to hear about that, Malik. We hope you have a very fast and healthy recovery. Getting back to the Giants, I think for a lot of Giants fans, this gives them a surge of hope, not just for this season, but going forward. And we'll have to see how the Giants carry on with Jackson Dart the rest of the year.
Yeah, for sure. And for the Chargers, I think you really need to get into the film room and do a little bit of fine shining on your clock management there. You got to get out of bounds. You got to do something over the week in practice of getting out of bounds. Hope that isn't a repeating issue come the end of games where you got to make a comeback.
Well, CP, we've said before, what's the one thing the Chargers have really lacked, even despite all their coaches, despite all their different players? What's the one thing the Chargers have not been good at?
Well, it was their 2-minute game that was non-existent, and last year we said that they got it. But now it's not only 2-minute game. Potentially, it could be comebacks. Like, is Justin Herbert? Can he Can he make a game-winning comeback drive? That's the new question.
I think he can, but we'll have to see it going on the rest of
As
the year.
the season goes on, of course, once is an anomaly, twice is a pattern.
Exactly.
That's how we're going to play this one. We're going to see this as an anomaly. Maybe the receiver slipped up, didn't see where he was footing wise. Just go into the film room, get better from it, and let's hope it doesn't become a habit.
And I want to give a big shout out to my favorite rock eater, Cam Scatabo. He's bringing a level of toughness and a really surge of energy to that whole Giants team that it makes it fun watching him as in the New York Giants uniform. So big shout out to Cam Scatabo. He's just a lot of fun to watch.
He is just one of the more exciting people in the league right now, and it's just his physicality. Like everything is just downhill. His head is to the ground, and he's just being physical.
Mm-hmm.
I saw during Jackson Dart's premier touchdown when he did the quarterback draw. Who made that lead block? That was Cam Scatabo. Put his face mask dead in the cornerback's chest and almost drove him to the floor. That is what you want in a teammate. That is what you want in a running back when he needs to block. Anybody on the field, you want to get behind a blocker. That Cam Scatabo is clearly that guy. He just wants to be the most physical kid on the floor, on the field, and he's been that every snap since week one.
It's been really fun to watch Cam, so I'm excited to see him get a full slate of games the rest of this year. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt.
Please don't get hurt.
Oh
That
man,
would be such a crippling injury to the Giants.
yeah.
That would be crippling.
He's bringing a lot of fun to New York Giant football, and the Giants have been lacking a lot of fun in their game for a while. So
Right.
this is
There's a little wind in the sails now. Let's see if they can turn it into a race.
We shall see. We'll have to keep an eye on the Giants going forward. Let's move to Houston, where the Houston Texans took on the Tennessee Titans 26-0. This is the second straight week in a row that we've had a shutout. But Texans get their first win of the year. Titans fall to 0-4.
Another rough loss for the Titans. Texans seem to have used this as a get right game, but the drawer to open with Tennessee is crazy.
Yeah, we're going to talk more Titans later on in this episode. There's a lot to unpack there. This was a good win for the Texans. However, the score is a little misleading because heading into the fourth quarter, it was 6-0. So the Texans offense didn't really get any juice until the Titans made some mistakes. Texans capitalized, but good for them to get their first win of the year. Texans play the Ravens this upcoming week, and the Titans play the Cardinals, and we're going to talk more of that game this episode. So let's move to a game that we talked about last week, and that was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was a really exciting game to watch, but ultimately the Eagles came away victorious over the Bucs 31-25. A very exciting game, and I think this is the second week in a row that Philly is blocking field goals, man. They are just that special teams unit, they have a lot of beef right up on the line to block these field goals, and it's fun to see.
I love watching the emergence of specific areas when it comes to a team sport, right? For years we've been watching the receivers. Now we watched the reemergence of the running back position last year into this year. And then we kind of questioned where the emergence would be next. We kind of said it would be linebackers, D tackles. It's in the special teams. There have been almost 10 blocked field goals in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That is unheard of. Pretty sure 3 of them were brought back for touchdowns, 2 of which were game winners, most of which happened week 1. So the emergence of special teams is both interesting and fun to watch, but I think it needs to be dug into a little deeper as to how and why it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to do that at some point.
It's definitely worth to look. I think one thing that is not talked about enough is with the new kickoff rules that the NFL implemented a couple years ago, teams are now getting the ball typically at the 35-yard line. But Philadelphia and surprisingly Carolina, they are the two teams where their kicker gets it within the landing zone, and it forces teams to then take it from the landing zone, and they only get to the 20-yard line. Now, when a starting drive is at the 20-yard line compared to the 35-yard line, that's a huge difference right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Eagles and Carolina are teams that they are really starting to kind of change how special teams is approached. And it's going to be very interesting to look at. But man, Philly, they look locked in. And they are still the team to beat, and they are still the top dogs in the NFC. And it's a lot of fun to watch. And again, to all the Jalen Hurts haters out there, just watch the games, man. This guy is it. Jalen Hurts is elite. I don't know what he needs to prove more.
I
This
don't know
guy can
what
do it.
else I really don't know what else it needs to take. I remember watching this game off air and texting you his third quarter stats that he had an 87%
Mm-hmm.
pass percentage, completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something at the end of the game. He wound up going 0 for 8 on pass attempts in the second half.
Yep.
Fine. Give me the 0 and 8 to finish with over 75% pass completion. You want to talk about the 0 and 8? Talk about the rest of the game that he played, where he was just torching the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to talk about 8 misses? Talk about everything else he made.
It was 8 misses and for negative 18 yards. So it was not pretty the second half for Philadelphia. But however, I think that really indicates that, again, this is a team sport. And when the offense kind of took a step back and took their pedal off the gas, and Tampa Bay was able to make that adjustment, the defense stepped up when it needed to. And so, look, are the numbers great in the second half? No. But again, the job is still done, and he
Right, the
still
win's
gets
the
the
win.
win. And I know AJ Brown really wants to get more targets from them, but that's not what Philly is. They're not a very pass heavy team. They are a run first grinding team that will, again, take over games, and it's hard to stop them. And right now they are 4-0 and still top dogs in the NFC.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So Philly, right there, and Tampa. Hey, they're still contenders, man, and I still have a lot of faith in Baker and the Bucks, and they still look really good. Emeka Egbuka, that's his name. That I
Yes,
finally got to pronounce it right. So big
yes.
shout out to Emeka Egbuka.
I also saw Mike Evans still out, and their running back is now out too, going into this week.
Yeah, Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving is out, and so is Mike Evans going into this week. So gonna have to keep an eye on the Bucks moving forward.
Absolutely. Let's move to New England, where the Carolina Panthers came into town to play the New England Patriots. This was a Super Bowl rematch from way back in the when, but the Patriots coming away victorious 42-13. Now, CP, I got to ask you, should the Patriots commit to Drake May going forward?
Maybe he seems to, he seems to be able to play. He's playing well. He's playing well enough to put 40 points on the board. I understand the Panthers defense is a train wreck right now. Simply put, they are a train wreck. There's a lot of problems at Carolina. We have soft spots for them. I see promise in them. They still have a lot of issues. But I think the under the radar molding of Drake May in New England is about to emerge. And who knows, maybe New England doesn't suck anymore, and that would suck.
Mike Vrabel bringing the Patriots empire back to relevancy. That'd be very
I
interesting to see.
That would hurt. That would hurt. I would hate to see them as another front runner again. Watch the Colts and the Patriots take over again, bro.
It's possible, man. But hey, New England, potential wild card team. Who knows? We got
Potential spoilers.
potential spoiler. I don't know, man. I think that they could, from how they're playing, again, great team football. If they keep this up, they can make a shot at the playoffs.
In a 2-team division,
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? At this point, it's a 2-team division, so
Mhm. So hey, good on the Patriots. They are looking a lot better than a lot of people expected. And hey, hopefully they give the Bills a run for their money. They play the Bills next Sunday, Sunday Night Football. So that will be very interesting.
that's going to be interesting.
That's going to be a very interesting game to see. But speaking of the Bills took care of business in Buffalo against the Saints, 31-19. Saints, I gotta say, they put up a better fight than initially thought. So again, we didn't expect them to win. You and I both picked the Bills, but it was a good fight for the Saints.
Maybe in the beginning, but then it all falls apart as soon. The Bills are that type of team that as soon as there's blood in the water, they go faster. Spencer Rattler falls to 0-10 as a starting quarterback. That is rough.
Yeah,
Rough
that
goings
is
for New England
rough.
right now. I mean, New Orleans, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very rough in New Orleans right now, but Kev, I'm sorry, man. It's going to be rough. So far, I've been kind of right that the Saints might just win one game this year, but we'll see. Right now, there's three winless teams at the moment: the Saints, the Titans, and the Jets at the moment. And we'll get into the Jets a little bit later. But at this current moment, there are only three winless teams. But let's move on to another team that, when they smell blood in the water, they just pounce, and that is the Detroit Lions, taking care of business against the Cleveland Browns in that number one defense, putting up 34 points to the Cleveland's 10. Detroit is back, baby. They are back, and it looks like week one was the anomaly. Now they're back to their usual selves. And I say usual as under Dan Campbell, because, again, Dan Campbell has the heart of Detroit right in his hands every week.
Yeah, it's hard. They bully people. They bully worse teams, and that's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just hope that come later in the year, if this method is starting to take your players again, like it did last year, I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping it doesn't. 21 players on the IR is crazy. I hope that never happens to another team again. I hope you know how to sustain this throughout the remainder of the year,
Mm-hmm.
or else you will fall short again simply because you don't have the roster depth anymore.
Yeah. So, again, hope everyone stays healthy going forward. But Detroit, when Detroit is looking good, it is good for the sport. And right
That was
now, the
good for
sport is
football.
looking very good. So let's move on to San Francisco, where the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the San Francisco 49ers 26-21. The Jags surprisingly have a great defense. Who would have thought? They lead the NFL in takeaways by a mile. They have 9 takeaways this year so far. You know how many they had last year throughout the whole season? 9. Now they have 9 through the first 4 weeks. This is crazy. And Liam Cohen, their new head coach, is an offensive coordinator. So for their defense to be as opportunistic as they are, it's very impressive to see. And I guess the one thing I can only say to that is Duval.
You didn't just do it like that, did you?
That's how Liam
Don't
Cohen did it.
disrespect the Duval.
That's how
I
he did
know
it.
he
His
did, but that was his first interview.
Duval.
Yo, they took that, called him a bitch, and he changed. And since then, they've been playing well. Hats off to them, but hope you can sustain this for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just
well,
stay healthy.
the Jags have a tough matchup next week. They play the Chiefs next Monday night. So let's move on to LA, where the Indianapolis Colts took on the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams won 27-20. But man, the Colts, they had some really good plays, but man, there was this one play where I forget the wide receiver who caught it, spun around, and then just couldn't hold on to the ball, and a touchback in the backfield. And
Mm,
that was a really big turning point in the game at that point, and the Rams capitalized after that. But man, Indiana Jones still looks really good. The Rams look really good, and hey, I think both of these teams are going to make the playoffs in their respective conferences.
that would be fun to watch. See if they had a round two in January.
Well, they're Indy
Oh no,
is
they're
AFC.
sorry,
Yeah, the
AFC, NFC. But this was at the end of it. It's just discipline always wins. If you
mhm.
can't, you got to try and hang on to the ball best you can. I understand you're in the motion of. going, but you got to hang on to the ball.
Absolutely, and honestly, that's the best way to put it too. So you put it exactly perfectly. So let's move on to Las Vegas, where the Chicago Bears beat the Las Vegas Raiders 25-24. Caleb Williams was kind of forced to make this comeback, and he did. And we had another blocked field goal to seal the game away. So this was a very, very exciting game to watch that I don't think either you or I or any other NFL fan would have thought that this was going to be a great game to watch.
No, but how about the emergence of Ashton Genty finally?
About damn
Hmm?
time.
Rush for over 100 yards and get, I think it was 2 touchdowns.
Bring back the Michael Myers stance.
Bring back the straight leg stance. So either he had a conversation with Pete Carroll and was like, yo, just let me try it and let me show you why I do this. And it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see it for the rest of the year. Or he just did it and he got in a lot of trouble in the locker room.
No, Pete Carroll liked it. He liked it. So
I hope so, because that's the way he's supposed to be running.
Mm-hmm. Just
Listen,
standing there
it's an
menacingly.
anomaly when it comes. It's an anomaly with the two rookie running backs right now: Cam Scatabo, the Crayon Eater, and Ashton Genty, Michael Myers. We have someone who likes to run through walls, and we like someone who likes to scare the life out of defenses pre-snap. So it's pretty fucking interesting to watch that there are two up and coming rebuilding teams.
CP, can we give Ashton Genty the Michael Myers nickname of the Shape? Can we give him that nickname?
The shape.
Yeah, that's what Michael Myers like. That's one of his nicknames. There, can we give that to Genty?
Well, let's see if he keeps the stance for more than a week.
Okay.
If he goes back to a bent knee, you know for a fact he ran for like 2 days of practice to shake the habit of standing with a straight leg. But if he continues to use the straight leg stance, then yeah, he will be the shape.
Love it. I love it. Okay, let's move to Kansas City, where my Baltimore Ravens fell to the Kansas City Chiefs 37-20. I got a lot to say with this. I got a lot to say. And first off, it's very disheartening to know that we have 13 players on injured right now. We have about 25% of our roster injured at this moment in time, including Lamar with a hamstring injury, who will not be expected to play this upcoming week nor the following week, and probably will be back after our bye week. This was a very ugly loss, even before all the injuries happened. It was our offense couldn't get going. Our defense couldn't stop anyone, which again is horrible. But to me, the biggest crime is giving Derrick Henry only 8 rushing attempts. This man needs to be given the ball 20 to 30 times a game. I don't know why John Harbaugh insists on not going that route, because we are a great running team. And he had 52 yards that game. He had 32 of it in the first drive when we were giving him the ball. But for some reason, we just kept straying away and straying away. Too many penalties, too undisciplined. We have a lot of work to do going forward, and now we fall to 1-3. However, I'm not worried. I am not in panic mode, because we have a bye week in 3 weeks. We have the Texans, the Rams, and then the bye. After the bye, we have the Bears, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Vikings, and those all seem very winnable. I think that if we are 2-4 heading into the bye, we lose one of the next two, so be it. Probably against the Rams, and I will actually be at that game. If we can beat the Texans with Cooper Rush, I'll kind of breathe a little easier. I won't need to use my nebulizer. I hope this forces, now with Cooper Rush at the helm this upcoming week, I hope this forces John Harbaugh to lean more on Derrick Henry. Give him 20 to 30 rushing attempts, and he's going to do good things, especially against a familiar foe in the Texans that he's played before in the AFC South. I think that,
Yeah, that he fucking religiously got 200 yards against when he was a
exactly.
Titan. No one
Exactly.
forgets that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I think we should really, again, lean on Henry this upcoming week and the following week. If we can win one of these next two games, it would be great. And I'm looking at the schedule going forward, and I'm calling it right now. And again, I'm not in panic mode, but CP, who do we play the final week of the season?
We play each other.
That's going to be for the division.
Oh, 100%.
That game is going to be for the division.
It's going to be for the division, and I don't mean to cut you off because of how we play and how the second shoe always drops at the worst fucking time. It'll probably wind up being for our playoff future.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we lose the division, there's a good chance we don't make the fucking playoffs with how good the AFC is.
It's possible, right? But I think that game is going
Determines all. It's going to determine all.
And it's funny because again, since we've been doing this podcast, right? Every year, this is the 5th year. Every year, the stakes are always high. The stakes have never not been high against the Ravens and Steelers.
No, there's always playoff stipulations when it comes to the time when we play.
So, despite being 1-3, I'm not worried. I think that we do have a lot of things to improve upon as a team, and I think that we will. I think that if we get this win against the Texans next week, I'll breathe a little easier. But man, we do have a lot of work to do going forward.
You see, I agree with you that I wouldn't be worried because you guys, I think this is the third year where you guys had a pretty slow start to the season. So you guys are becoming a kind of habitual slow starters, but at the end of the day, again, it's a game of attrition.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain amount of losses you can have before you can consider a season over.
Mm-hmm.
You can argue it's probably 6 games. So if you allot yourself 6 losses in a season, then that's when
10.
you could almost before week 10, that's probably when you can count yourself out statistically for the year. You guys stretch it 3-4 losses, but then you guys won't fucking lose. Last year, I'm pretty sure you guys lost all of your losses came before your bye week, and then you just fucking didn't lose at the end.
We did have a late bye last week, but yeah,
I think you had a bye week in like week 9,
week 14, I think.
You had a really late bye week then.
Mm-hmm.
But going into that, you guys had a fucking win streak. You think you guys won like 7 straight going out of last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you guys start slow and then you pick up the pace and then you're unbeatable come the end of the year. So I think, again, I wouldn't be too worried. My concern is John Harbaugh. He is the major concern right now. Is preparation as a coach in ways of getting people to get out of any type of mental whatever they're in as a coach, get everyone on the same page. We're falling in. I see issues with him and the locker room starting to fucking emerge. Mm-hmm. He's clearly trying to get people to do shit that as a coach, and they're just not. They're doing it as their own players, and that's fine. If you need to coach every day, that's a problem. But if they're just not listening, that's an even bigger problem.
Yeah.
So while the same conversation with me about a potential healthy divorce, if time came, how would you feel about a potential healthy divorce with John Harbaugh? I'm not saying it's even on the table. I'm just saying hypothetically, how would you feel about a potential healthy divorce with John Harbaugh?
But we still have Lamar?
Of course, you have your roster.
Okay.
I'm just saying if it was to come time to where it was someone had to sit on the hot seat and John Harbaugh's name came up and it's now your turn to sit on this hot seat, what do you think they should do? Keep or go?
I'm in the minority here. I would keep. And I know a lot of Ravens fans.
I don't think that's a minority, but I respect it.
No, I've been seeing a lot of Ravens fans say John Harbaugh needs to go. A lot of it across a lot of different medias and stuff like that. Okay. And is he a great coach? Yeah, he's a great coach, but is he a flawed coach? Absolutely. But me personally, I think that he is one of those coaches where, again, he has not only established the culture of there, but he's also been able to adapt very well to the changing times of the NFL. However, what gets me is that his game plans make me scratch my head because again, it's like, why are we giving Derrick Henry eight rushing attempts against a Kansas City defense that has trouble stopping the run? And it's and again, go back to the AFC title game a couple years ago. We only ran it with our running backs 6 times. We get away from our own identity. And I think that when Harbaugh embraces who we are as a team, that's when we're unstoppable. But when he wants to get fancy, he wants to kind of think outside the box, that's when shit gets awry. And so me personally, I would still stick with Harbaugh on like despite him being on the hot seat, but however it's like expectation, the burden of expectation is heavy. And so far, we haven't met the expectation that a lot of people have had of us, including myself, at the first 4 weeks of the year. Can that change? Absolutely. Will it change? I'm optimistic it will. I mean, we've seen teams go 1-7 and then finish 9-8. Right? Like, it's happened. Me personally, I always refer back to 2012, where Washington with RG3 in their rookie year went. They were 3-6, and then they've won out. And so
Yep.
and then they finished 10-6. So I think that winning cures a lot. And I think that we just need another win to kind of breathe a little easier, not just as fans, but within that locker room as well. And I think that that will kind of really get a lot of the stress out of it. But man, it's going to be an uphill climb. But me personally, I would stick with Harbaugh with Lamar because I don't know how Lamar would be with a different coach, and it may not necessarily be the right fit with a different coach.
Well, that's always the fear, right?
Yeah.
Is that who would fit? So then you have to take like a deep look around the league to be like who as a coach would be you would want to look for an even swap where both teams would be better off
Mm-hmm.
at that point. You want to know, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I respect that. I was just curious as to where you landed on that spectrum of with John Harbaugh.
Is now does Harbaugh again? Is he to blame for some of our losses? Absolutely, and I've called him out on
Mm-hmm.
the show before, where I said that loss is at Harbaugh's feet.
There's been quite a few of those.
Yes, and a lot of them in recent time too, because
Yes, in the
again,
past couple of years.
because of game planning, and that's what I've really
Mm-hmm.
been heavy on. But do I trust him? I do, because it'd be hard to really trust anyone else with this roster.
That's fair. I could see that. I could see that's the same kind of feeling that I have with Tomlin and Steelers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
would I be against it? Again, probably not. I wouldn't be against a healthy divorce if it were to come. I'm probably one of the few Pittsburgh Steelers that are actually talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
like genuinely, other than just get him out. We don't want him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's probably not going to happen. The Rooneys don't fire coaches.
Yeah,
And again, great coach, all time coach, Hall of Fame coach, extremely flawed coach.
and same here.
You know, and I feel like both of them have the same flaw where they're trying to set their feet in old traditions,
Mm-hmm.
where we're trying to set our feet in very underneath, inside the numbers, down the field type passing, not much running. We have the team built for that, but we just don't have the cohesiveness as a unit to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are not built to do that. You guys are a read option team to a core, and he keeps reverting back to the days of having Joe Flacco. From what it looks like, he's just opening up the Joe Flacco playbook, and he's like, "This will work this game," and it's like, that's not this team anymore. You have to move past that.
Mm-hmm. And last thing I'll say about the Ravens is like, look, as a fan, if I'm reading what we're doing before it even happens, it's like, look, the defense knows that too. Look, every time Justice Hill is on the field, and I love Justice Hill, he's a great player. I know it's a pass play. And I know Justice Hill, like, he can run it, but I know we're not giving it to him. And when Derrick Henry's off the field,
You're
it,
passing the ball.
we're passing the ball every time, or like 90% of the time. We have to utilize Derrick Henry because it's like, look, even if we're passing it, the threat of Derrick Henry on the field makes the defenses change their orientation. So I don't like this rotating running back style that he has because I'd
The
prefer,
running back by committee is unnecessary.
especially when we have Derrick Henry at this point. It was fine when we had Justice Hill and Gus Edwards. It was fine with that. But Derrick Henry, it's like, look, he changes how the defense plays, and Lamar does the same thing too. And so it we really need to get back to the lab, get back to what makes us great, and that's running the football consistently. So Harbaugh, don't forget who you like. It's like Mufasa talking to Simba. Remember who you are.
Good reference.
So that's all I got to say on the Ravens. A lot to say, but again, not hitting the panic button just yet.
No, I wouldn't.
But let's move on to the Sunday night primetime game, which could be game of the year, but it's also the tie of the year. The Packers and the Cowboys tied at 40, our first tie in a couple years, actually. It's been a little while. And this really shakes things up. Green Bay has their bye week this week, and Dallas comes to play the Jets. But man, CP, I gotta say, Dak Prescott is playing MVP caliber football, man. He looks prime. And I think we said this last when we talked about this game. The only way that Dallas has a shot to win this game is if Dak puts up great numbers. And he did. And Jordan Love followed him too. Jordan Love was fantastic this game. Micah Parsons got a sack on Dak that saved a touchdown in overtime. Very dramatic.
Great ankle pick. Right.
This was a fantastic game, and again, potentially game of the year. But for all the Cowboy haters out there, and I know there's a lot of them, and you know me, I'm not a Jerry Jones fan, but I'm a Dak Prescott fan. I like Dak, and he's been absolutely sensational this year. And if anyone doesn't think that he's playing MVP caliber football, you're just not watching the games. I'm sorry.
He is the only thing keeping the Cowboys above water.
Absolutely.
And that is the truth. You know me, I am no fan of Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I have been very critical of him over the years.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have disagreed a lot when it comes to Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
But I will not take away how good he is really playing. I will not do that. I have not done that, but I am very critical of him.
Mm-hmm.
He is playing out of his mind this year. So I will tip my hat to him. He is literally the only thing keeping that Cowboys team offensively and defensively afloat.
100%.
The absence of CeeDee Lamb is probably the only reason why they lost that game.
Well, they didn't lose the game.
Well, why they tied that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only reason why they didn't win that game.
Mm-hmm.
If CeeDee Lamb was on the field, they would have won that game in the end. There's really not much. They both played to the final whistle. There's really not much to say on. It's one of the better games of the year, but it's also anticlimactic. I hate overtime ties.
I don't mind it,
I think
personally.
I don't like it. I think they should do something like a sudden death situation. At like continuous OT, even if it's not continuous, like full drives, you got to do something to produce a winner at the end of this game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I've never been a fan of ties.
Again, we haven't had one in a couple years, so it's very rare that it does happen. But for it to be 40-40 at the end, that's nuts. It's insane.
Yeah, but it almost, again, on the other side of the bridge, it almost makes you want a winner more than that. It's like I want to see a 43-40.
Yeah.
It's like you guys both work there has to be a winner here. It's like, and I'm sure both teams felt the same way where it's like, damn, we got to stop playing. Like, we ain't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't done yet.
Yep.
Let us finish this game out. It ain't done yet.
I know. It's funny because George Pickens didn't even know that ties happen in the NFL, which is kind of funny.
Because they don't happen in college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't
Mhm.
happen in college. So you go from playing 4 or 5 OT games that are they're like red zone drives. You get red zone opportunities in college, and it's back and forth until you don't score.
Mhm.
So they should do that. Do red zone drives. Or I saw something where it was like do a field goal sudden death. You set them up at the 35 and move back 5 yards apiece for every made field goal.
I saw that. I honestly wouldn't be opposed to that personally, but for the game to rest on one player, that's tough.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot, but
Again,
these
this.
kickers have iron legs lately.
Oh yeah, we're
You
having.
know what I'm
Oh yeah,
saying?
these guys are fucking
So to have
insane.
a kicking shootout at the end of a game, you know what I'm saying? You have a shootout at the end of the game before you know it, you have two kickers that can kick 55 consistently going against each other for a win.
Shit. And Brandon Aubrey can fucking kick fucking 65-yard field goals.
That's what I'm saying. And Boswell apparently decided to be able to kick 62 this year. You know
Absolutely
what I'm
insane.
saying?
Absolutely insane.
So they got to, in my opinion, they got to do something with the OT, but great game between the two of them.
Absolutely. Let's move to Monday night, where we had another 0-3 bowl between the Jets and the Dolphins, and the Dolphins coming away victorious 27-21. But again, this was an ugly win for the Dolphins because Tyreek Hill broke so many ligaments in his knee. He's obviously going to be out for the year, and potentially this could end his career. It was a very, very ugly injury. And Tyreek, we hope that you have a very safe and healthy recovery. I think, to me, I'm very distressed that I wasn't distressed that he was smiling and clapping on the cart because a lot of people were taking he's like, oh, he doesn't have to play with two anymore. I think he was just in such a state of shock that his leg fucking
Just snapped in half.
snapped, right? It's I wouldn't say snap, right? Because it's like, but it fucking snapped, and I think he was just in such a state of shock that all the endorphins are going and everything. But man, Tyreek, man, what a player, and we hope again safe and healthy recovery.
If that was to be his last game, what a career.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, what a career.
Absolutely.
But will go down as one of the best receivers to never win a Super Bowl.
No, he won a Super Bowl.
I thought he was off that Chiefs team before.
So he won the year that they played the 49ers the first time.
So he has his one.
He has his one.
I thought he was off the team before he won one.
No, he's got his one.
All right. But hell of a career. I think people are taking this, like you said, the whole smiling thing a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
Shock and adrenaline are a motherfucker when shit like that happens. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He could also be seeing it as a silver lining, not to not be playing with Tua, but shit, this is my retirement, so I'm going to enjoy what I can.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to take this all in. Like this is the last time I have to sit on this fucking cart.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
now I can live my life after football.
Mm-hmm.
He could be seeing again. I don't have to play with Tua anymore. That would be pretty fucked. He left Kansas City to play with Tua. That
Yep.
would be a fucking all-time 180.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it goes that deep.
I honestly, I'm glad that you and I we see it the same way too, because he he's just one of those special players, man. And I'm sure when we talk about the Dolphins, we'll get more about him and his presence and his absence for the team. But man, he
Absolutely.
is like Tyreek Hill. He is. Look, let me ask you: is he a Hall of Famer?
Yes, but I don't think he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay,
I
I
think
agree
there's a
with you.
lot of I think there's a lot of people in line ahead of him
Mm-hmm.
who are on the retirement route that will be in before him. You know what I'm saying? First
Absolutely.
one that comes to mind and foremost will be Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
When he retires, he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
Okay. I hey again, Tyreek, man. We wish you a very safe and healthy recovery going forward. But let's move on to the final game of the year. It's not of the year. Sorry, the final game of the week: the Cincinnati Bengals and the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos putting the beat down on the Bengals, 28-3. Falcons fans, cover your ears. But yeah, Denver beating the Broncos. Denver beating the Cincinnati Bengals, 28-3.
My God, the Bengals only go as far as Joe Burrow will bring them. That is probably the truest case I've ever seen when it comes to a team. They go nowhere when he's not on that field.
Yeah.
And yet they still learn nothing that they need to invest in an offensive line. If people who don't know the game can look at the TV and be like, holy shit, he's running for his life. How would you, as fucking NFL owners and managers, look at what's happening on the field and think that's okay? You are failing this kid.
Mm-hmm.
You are failing your franchise by not fucking investing in an offensive line. And I'll be honest with you, that Cincinnati stink that we spoke about a couple of years ago, that shit's back. That shit's back. That shit, they did not put it out totally.
That stank.
That shit's back. Cincinnati sucks again.
Fuck the Bengals. But
Fuck the Bengals.
I know you and you probably saw the same image I did, where the Broncos rushed 3 pass rushers, and Cincinnati offensive line had 4 guys blocking 1 guy, and the 2 others got to the quarterback.
Untouched. It's fucking crazy.
It's pitiful.
It is. It's fucking borderline embarrassing. It's like how. It's again that falls on coaching, right? You have to show. You have to tell them, but you shouldn't have to tell them at this point, as offensive linemen, that if you don't see anybody, expect somebody. Like if you don't have someone lined up on you, yeah, you put a hand on the inside shoulder. But you have to expect someone's crashing at some point. So you got to keep your body ready for another block. If you totally initiate on one person, that's going to leave a hole for someone to go untouched. And the Bengals are the most habitual repeaters of that same exact problem. Their guards don't know how to leave the center alone. The both of them just want to help the center every play, and it's buck wild. Neither of them get to the second level. Neither of them stay open to hold for a blitzing backer. No one stays back. Everyone just wants to double team the nose guard, no matter who they play. That is not how you play offensive line.
They never turn their heads outward.
Never. They never square up their legs. They're always in like attack mode versus protect. Their protection rate is god awful. It's been god awful for years.
Yeah, it's Joe Burrow may win an MVP by not playing just because of how valuable he is to the Bengals. It is, I feel for Joe Burrow because again, the reason he went to the Bengals is because they are a shitty organization. They had that really really shitty year that one year, and again, I've been seeming to ask this question every single week this year on the show. Can good quarterbacks overcome bad organizations? And it seems like no. And it seems that it's just so hard for the Bengals to find any semblance of relevancy without Joe Burrow because Mike Brown is just a cheap son of a bitch, man. And for that, they'll never be anything more than, at best, they'll be good. At worst, they'll be the Bungles.
Again.
Again.
They'll just turn into the fucking Bumcats again. It's just fuck them. It's just, again, if that's what you're going to do, then fucking you earned it. Then you absolutely fucking earned it. You've seen your saving grace come in at Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. You guys did the fucking one thing right. You drafted a quarterback with his weapon. You did that.
They did that, but
that was also the same year that fucking Penei Sewell was drafted. Don't worry, I remember. That was the same year that Penei Sewell was drafted.
Yep.
It was also the same year that Justin Jefferson was drafted. Your other weapon from that championship LSU team. So maybe you're kicking yourself in the foot a little bit where you could have gotten Joe Burrow, Panay Sewell, and Justin Jefferson, potentially.
Well, Justin Jefferson was never going to leave the first round, so
That's valid.
it's tough. But again, Joe Burrow looks like he doesn't necessarily need Jamar Chase because he can sling it to, like, again, T Higgins. A lot of great other weapons other than Jamar. We know Jamar's special, right? He's one of the top receivers in this league. But again, when Joe Burrow's on his back, the ball ain't going to Jamar.
Right, you missed Panay Sewell and Joe Alt.
Yeah.
Let's think about that one. You slipped on both of them.
Well, actually, the Bengals weren't drafting high enough to get Joe Alt.
Either way, you got to do something to try and get a fucking lineman.
Yeah.
Trade up, do what you can. Y'all just didn't see him. Y'all didn't scout them. That's scouting.
Yep. Man, it's going to be a long year for Cincinnati. But again,
a long couple years.
the mantra on this show: fuck the Bengals.
That's it.
Okay, guys, that is our Week 4 recap. We had a lot of great games and so much to talk about, so much to unpack. But we want to get right into Week 5 because there are a lot of great matchups this week. And I know, CP, you wanted to discuss a very underrated matchup for this upcoming week, and that was the Tennessee Titans and the Arizona Cardinals. So I'll ask you, like, what interests you about this game?
Well, Tennessee being 0-4 is interesting.
Mhm.
Simply because you're watching a lot of leniency goes towards Cam Ward. We've given him his leniency when it comes to who he is as a player. There will be growing pains. This team is a train wreck. I want that to be very clear. The Titans are a train wreck. There are so many problems right now. Their offensive line is almost dead last. Cam Ward is dead last in every serious QB stat right now. That is the same as Stetson Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
And when Stetson Bennett was doing it, he was being torn apart. Cam Ward, drafted first overall, you are statistically the worst. Leniency seems to be given. I understand. Again, team is a train wreck. You need a lot of help. You have no receiving room. You have no offensive line. Your defense has an okay front seven, but you have no secondary. So they can't stop over the top. They have very hard time leading into the run. So here you are at 0-4. You said, Cam Ward said it the best himself. They ass. They are not a good football team. Now, I believe Cam Ward can turn the culture of that locker room around, but he cannot win games alone. But he also needs to not put people in the position to lose games.
Mm-hmm.
He does need to play better himself, and I hope he sees that on the film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he does make rookie mistakes, being that he is a rookie, but he seems to be one of the more mature players in this league. I hope he sees them and adapts to it to try and put a couple wins on the board. The plus side is a lot of people teams like to beat up on Arizona. They like to use them as the get right team.
Mm-hmm.
But like we were saying in the recap, Arizona likes to fight. And they're opportunists. Where if you leave the window of opportunity to score and go up, they're going to take it and they're going to make you pay for it. I like this matchup because if there was ever a get right game that Tennessee needed, it was go into the team that everybody likes to beat up on and do your best to beat up on them. And with Arizona, this could be a statement win.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're not going to let anybody come in here and fight and beat us up. And now you come in and now you put your foot to the throat of Tennessee. You make them go 0-5. You move up to 3-2. Now you're in the conversation again with Arizona in the middle of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything that goes ahead with this matchup.
It's very interesting, and when you brought this up to me, I was like, okay. I know we definitely, again, we want to talk every team on this show each year, and the more I looked at this I was like, Arizona. I'll start with Arizona right now. They are, again, when you look at the stat chart, nothing really pops out stat wise. They seem very average. Kyler Murray, he's got like about 750 yards. He's got like a 62 completion percentage. He's got 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. It's Kyler Murray, right? And you know he's going to be scrambling. You know he's going to get his rushing yards. It's this game for Arizona. They kind of have to win it, right? And I don't want to say it's a must win, but it kind of feels like a must win because of just how good the rest of their division is. The Seahawks with Sam Darnold look pretty good. The Rams are fucking Super Bowl contenders. And the 49ers with fucking Mac Jones are pretty goddamn good despite, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy just going at it. So, and I'm sure we'll probably discuss, maybe a quarterback controversy later on, but so be it. But they're in a division with three other really good teams. And if you fall behind even just once, it's going to be a tough hill to climb. It's because in other divisions, it's, say, a little bit more forgiving, right? Where, say, for instance, in the AFC East, Bills, Patriots, Jets, Dolphins, right? It seems that Bills are going to be at the top, right? But the Patriots kind of had that flexibility to kind of be a team there because the Jets are the Jets, right? And the Dolphins are pretty bad this year.
Deflated at the moment.
Yeah. But Arizona doesn't have that luxury. Arizona kind of has to win as many again, win as many games as you can. And I know that sounds obvious, but they are, especially losing to the Niners last not last week, but the week prior, and losing to Seattle, you lost two very important divisional games. And so if you have any chance to make the playoffs, you gotta kind of win these games against bad teams. And right now, Tennessee is a bad team. Like you said, Cam Ward admitted that they're ass. They are ass. What concerns me more about Arizona is the lack of chemistry between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., where it seems that they're trying to force the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., and their relationship between each other is not necessarily natural connection between quarterback and receiver. Because right now, at this as we currently stand, their leading receiver or their leading pass catcher is Trey McBride, who's a phenomenal tight end, but he has more receiving yards and more touchdowns than Marvin Harrison Jr. So, which isn't bad. I mean, that's great for a tight end. But a tight end as your leading receiver, I mean, the only team that can really get away with that is Kansas City with Travis Kelsey, right? But I want to see more of it. Now, the injury to James Conner, that is devastating for this team. And James Conner, he has ever since leaving the Steelers and coming to Arizona, he has emerged as an all-purpose running back, and he has been the best thing for Kyler Murray because, like you and I have said before, the best friend to a quarterback is a great running game. And when Arizona is balanced, then they are the most dangerous. And right now, it seems that they're going to have to lean on a lot of other secondary players. But, Kyler himself, again, he can get you some rushing yards. But I wouldn't lean on that too much, right? Because we've seen, again, he's smaller stature. You don't want to put him too much at risk against a lot of these very complex defenses, right? The Rams have a great defense, right? They are phenomenal. The Seahawks have great defensive personnel. Are they a great defense? We'll see, but you and I, we've talked about it before. I love a lot of their players on Seattle. And the 49ers, they're still nasty, man. They still got a great defense. I mean, despite Nick Bosa being hurt, Fred Warner is one of the best linebackers in the game, and he eats Kyler Murray when he gets the chance. So it's, again, for the Cardinals, if you're going to be competitive within your division, you got to beat the bad teams. And again, that's an easy thing to say, but anything could happen any given Sunday. Now, getting back to Tennessee, Tennessee's, again, a bad team, and maybe at this point in time they're a desperate team. But Tennessee, they really just kind of need that offensive identity. They need to kind of just start taking risks with the players that they have. They got to limit test. They got to really see what the capabilities of this team are. And one stat that popped out at me when I was looking at the Tennessee Titans is we've played 4 games so far. They have only scored 3 touchdowns.
Not okay.
Make that make sense.
It's not okay.
The only way
It's
that
just
makes sense is they're just a bad team. But to
you can't
score,
move down the field. It's just what it is.
they can't. And again, the Texans just stalwart to them. I mean, Texans have a really good defense, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but you gotta put up something, right? Like, to get shut out, that's embarrassing. But like, you really need to score touchdowns. Really bring sparks to offense. It really gets players believing in themselves that we have this capability within us. We can do this because we just scored, right?
Yeah.
You got to score, right? And like you said before, Arizona, they're one of those teams where teams like to get right on. That defense is not really that special there. I mean, they got Calais Campbell still there in Arizona, but aside from that, their leading tackler is Michael Wilson Sr. So, I mean, again, great linebacker, but again, is he Fred Warner? No, but can Tennessee put up some points? That's what you got to do, man. You got to just put something on the board to at least give some faith in your players that we have some potential. We have some capabilities within us. Because, like you and I, we've discussed before, it's like for the bad teams, it's not always about the wins, it's about the progress and
Right.
seeing the improvements along in the journey. And right now, it's tough because we Tennessee had the number one overall pick last year, and they were bad for a reason. They got that pick because they were bad, and they're still bad. But you gotta find some progress. Got to find something in there. And I know you and I were talking a little bit off camera. I think the Titans need to ask themselves, look, is our head coach Brian Callahan really the guy? Is he the guy that we want to commit to with Cam Ward? I think by the end of the year, they should have that answer for themselves. Personally, at this point in time, I don't think he is the right guy in Tennessee, but that doesn't mean that that can't change. But like you and I were saying before, winning helps, man. It really just kind of shakes the stink off of the team, and it kind of gets players to kind of be like, "Whew, okay,
Yeah.
we can do this."
Wins are definitely a breath of fresh air, but at this point, it's like you have very little to lose right now. You've lost a quarter of your games. So if you think about it, they are in a very potentially positive position. You have nothing to lose going into a team that, again, teams use to get right on. You could essentially run the trial that the Green Bay Packers ran with Jordan Love when they realized, holy shit, we have someone. Remember, it was I don't remember who exactly they played, but we spoke about it after it happened that it was we're going to take the cuffs off and just let it fly.
Yeah,
Remember that?
you know who that was against? That was
Who?
Thanksgiving Day against the Lions.
Right. So they let him take the cuffs off and was like, let's see what we can do here,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll work from there. The Titans can do that this week against Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
You take the cuffs off, stop playing scared. You have very little to lose. Make something happen, and then work from there. It's the little things done right that make a great team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's well said too, because again, you master the little things, and then the little things just become second nature at that point. And so for Tennessee, again, you're in a division in the AFC South where at this point in time, it's probably a little far away from you to win this division. The Colts with Danny Dimes and Indiana Jones, they look pretty good. the Jags have a surprisingly good defense despite being an offensively focused team. And the Texans have been the top dog in that division for a while, but like for the last 2 years since getting C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryan as their head coach. But right now they're looking very lackluster on offense. And again, despite being shut out last week, it was 6-0 going into that fourth quarter. That game still could have been won by Tennessee, but they just needed something, anything. If they got a field goal to make it 6-3, that keeps it close. You stay in the game, you stay focused, right? But when the game gets away from you, it's hard to get back into it, right?
You're thinking too much.
You think,
Now, they're thinking way too much. It's, again, you're playing scared, you're overthinking things. Just go out and play your game. Don't worry about being 0-4. Just worry about playing together. It's the same thing we said about with Detroit, same thing we said about playing with the Chargers, same thing we said about playing with the Eagles and Green Bay. Forget about the fucking record. Just get it together as a team. If you're going to lose, lose together.
Mhm.
Don't fucking point fingers. Don't blame no fucking buddy. You guys are a team. You win as a team. You lose as a team. You grow as a team, regardless.
Mhm.
It's either you're going to grow and you're going to fail, or you're going to grow and you're going to become something.
Mhm.
It's all about how you guys decide to fucking play together.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I did looking at the film with Cam Ward, one thing that I was impressed with is he has good pocket awareness.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
and so he's very intuitive of when to leave the pocket and to head to the flats, right? He's very intuitive of that. But the downside to that is that the pocket is collapsing because of his offensive line. And their offensive line is not really that good. And it, it almost looks like they were in black and orange Bengals colors. That's how bad they looked.
They're almost as bad as the Bengals.
Yeah. Um, which again, it's tough because when you look at Cam Ward's stats, he's got a 51 completion percentage so far through the first 4 games, 2 touchdowns, 2
I'm
interceptions.
pretty sure his QB rating is like a 40 or some shit.
It's not good, but is that on him? I mean, partially, but not entirely, right? Because again, it's a whole team effort. And when you look at a lot of that Texan game last week, there were a lot of drops, there were a lot of sacks. It was ugly. It was a very ugly defensive game, and the Texans were fine with that. But as a very young team, Titans have to learn from that, and that's where they kind of need to go. Now, again, this is in Arizona. It's going to be a very intimidating atmosphere. Cardinals fans, they show up.
They're loyal.
They're loyal. They show up, and maybe it's not going to be as say loud as Kansas City or anything like that, but it's going to be a challenge to win. But I challenge them to score points and see what happens at that point. If they could score 2 touchdowns this game, that's progress in my book. If they can get 2 passing touchdowns this game, I'll take that.
If you can get an opening drive touchdown,
Mm.
that's green light in my book.
Yep.
For great things.
Mm-hmm.
You can get an opening drive touchdown. That's it. The game is complete for you guys.
Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that. Again, progress. That's what we want to see with these 2 teams. But Arizona, again, if you want to compete in your division, you gotta win this game. In Tennessee, it's like, look, you're probably not going to compete in your division, but you got to prove to yourselves that you belong in the league, right? You got to prove to yourselves that, look, we are football players and we're going to get better every week, week in and week out. And Cam Ward, one thing that has made him that has made us fans of him is his attitude. He has the complete opposite attitude of Caleb Williams, which is fucking hilarious. But he has the opposite attitude of Caleb Williams, where he's going to be looking at the film. He is determined. He is going to try to improve going forward. And as an organization, what more can you ask for, man, within a guy that's willing to try? That's as a team that, again, very different than what it was a couple years ago under Mike Vrabel. Potential Super Bowl contenders, right? They were in the AFC title game. They were close to going back to the Super Bowl. And now it's like, look, this is the rebuild. This is it. And it's going to be a long climb back up the mountain, but you climb up the mountain one step at a time.
Yeah, and this could be the pinnacle step for you guys to realize, is this going to work or is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So this game is going to be very interesting to watch. It's going to be ugly on both sides. There's going to be a lot of growing pains for both teams,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think you got to look for the glimpses with Tennessee. You got to look for the little things, not missing blocking assignments, not having pre-snap penalties, post-snap penalties, not being more penalized in the game, being able to move down the field. Again, an opening drive touchdown, being able to say we can put points on the board consistently,
Mm-hmm.
not empty brackets, being able to cross midfield almost at will. It's the little fundamental things about this game that Tennessee is clearly struggling in that they need to get together.
Now, CP, before we move on, I want to ask who out of the three winless teams, the Titans, the Saints, and the Jets, who's the worst of the worst?
In order, I think it's Jets, Titans, Saints.
Jets as the worst?
Jets is the best.
As the
Saints as the worst.
Okay, what makes you think the Saints are better than the Titans?
No, I think the Titans are better than the Saints.
So
I think it's
what makes you
Jets, Titans, Saints.
what makes you think the Titans are better than the Saints?
I think they have, again, the mentality of Cam Ward is going to seep into that locker room, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think them as a franchise, they see problems before, like a lot earlier than New Orleans does.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly have not seen an issue with Spencer Rattler over in New Orleans, so they're gonna run. They're gonna run that horse until it falls on its face again.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tennessee is pretty good at picking up on the on-field issues and adapting to them. Like when Ryan Tannehill was quarterback, they realized they didn't have much of a receiver room, so they went and got, if I'm not mistaken, it was Julio Jones
Mm-hmm.
that they got.
Mm-hmm.
They got for him, and then they went and they drafted Derrick Henry, and then they were off to the races. Where Ryan Tannehill could kind of just be a ball, just a mover, give it to the people who need it, and then go.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple people on defense with Kevin Byard, and then they had a very solid enough team to become a playoff contender. I feel it may not be the coaches, like it may not fall on the coach. I think management is structured enough in Tennessee to get those pieces in the room at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I could respect that. Me personally, I think the worst. I think the worst team at the moment is probably the Titans, then the Saints, and then the Jets. And but I think the Titans are in a better position than the Saints going forward because they'll get some more cap room and they have their franchise quarterback to look forward to. Whereas the Saints, they are still in cap hell and they don't have the guy that they want leading them game in and game out. So I think
Correct.
that the Titans may be the worst team out of the winless teams, but they are in they're pointing in a better direction than the
So they
Saints.
have the highest ceiling, you think?
I wouldn't say that. I think that they are again, they're in a better direction than the Saints and the Jets. Where the
Okay.
Saints and the Jets they're still trying to get their personnel right, and so are the Titans, right? But they have at least an idea of their foundation as a team.
Well, they have the office structure.
Yeah.
Tennessee, out of the three of them, have the better office structure for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not close.
I just think that for Tennessee, it's like, look, prove to yourself that you can score points, that you can be a football team. Consistency is key, right? Mike Vrabel was consistent at 9-7, and I'm sure Titans fans didn't like that being 9-7 for many many years, but
I'm sure they missed the 9-7 now.
I'm sure they missed the 9-7 now, right? Because now consistency is something that you guys are trying to build back, and there's something to be said about that. Whereas the Saints, it's like, man, this is going to be ugly, and we knew it. With the Jets, it's like we knew the Jets, they're ugly every year, so there's no expectation there. So I think that, again, they got to ask themselves: is Brian Callahan the guy that you want to steer the ship? That's the real question that they should hopefully find the answer for towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I just hope they don't fuck Cam Ward and get rid of him halfway through the year because they're not playing well. It's always unfortunate to me to see young quarterbacks go through multiple coaches in multiple years.
Yeah.
Like the Justin Fields situation, what's going to be the Caleb Williams situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pretty sure Michael Penix has gone through a couple of coaches over in Atlanta. Because he was there for Dan Quinn last year. Dan Quinn,
No, last year was still Raheem Morris.
so he hasn't gone through another coach yet.
No.
Good for him. You know, but mostly in Chicago, the
Mm-hmm.
Chicago situation, they go through coaches like fucking wildfire. You know,
The Jets.
the Jets. You know, so the teams that are fire sailing their coaches, I hope it doesn't trickle into Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So if Callahan isn't the guy, realize it after maybe his sophomore year. Give them another year
Mm-hmm.
to throw out all the rookie kinks. Don't just dump him rookie year. Bring in another guy because that's just going to start a cycle of dump and chase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, dump and chase a coach, dump and chase a coach, and then before you know it, he's going to be a free agent. He's going to be gone.
Yep. You got to find stability.
Right, and you got to find stability in what you got in the beginning. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Exactly.
if that stability is trudging through the shit, then you got to trudge through the shit stably,
Mm-hmm.
and then you upgrade and you get better.
Absolutely. And that was very well said. So, CP, any final thoughts on this game?
This is going to be a very slow paced, methodical game. There's going to be a lot of ugly movements happening. It's just look for positives on both sides. You know, Arizona could turn this into a statement win and go 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee, you need this as a get right, nothing to lose, cuffs off game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just do your assignment full speed the right way, and you'll see good things happen.
Absolutely. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be ugly, but there's going to be a lot to learn from the ugly. So, let's move on to the second game that you and I wanted to talk about. And this was one that I brought up to you. And this is the Washington Commanders against the Los Angeles Chargers. Very interesting matchup between an AFC and NFC opponent that don't really see each other very often. But this is the return of Jaden Daniels. So from that knee injury. So CP, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on this game?
This game, again, it's interesting because of the way in which the Chargers lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they kind of beat themselves at the end of the game there against the Giants. So it's the idea of, is that an anomaly, or is their crunch time performance peeking its ugly head around again?
Mm-hmm.
Where they kind of drift off from their 2 minute game, they kind of lose the situational football to close a game out. And again, Washington is one of those opportunist teams where if you leave that window open, they're gonna crash it and they're gonna score on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's questionable if Terry McLaurin's going to be back for this game, but you know, Jaden Daniels, he's a good ball distributor. He has a pretty even distribution around the field. Justin Herbert, he is playing on a really high level this year. It's that late game situational football that I hope does not come back
Mm-hmm.
at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's hope that the loss against the Giants was a blunder.
You would hope, right? And hopefully it doesn't kind of deflate them as the season goes on. But I just kind of wanted to see the stats for of the Chargers right now, and so Herbert's playing. Again, really good at the moment. And I know a lot of people were saying MVP for like the first 2
I don't
weeks.
know, MVP level.
I don't know MVP level, but he's got 1,000 yards so far, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a 63 completion percentage. He's playing Justin Herbert football. He's playing exactly how we expect him to be, which is good to great. And but there again, the clock management is not. I wouldn't say that falls on him. I'd put that on Harbaugh's plate because he should know a lot better. But I think what is really going to hurt them is if they can't generate a run game. That's going to be tough for the Chargers because the the Commanders, they don't necessarily have a stout defense, but they have a lot of big guys up front. And those big guys can stop the run very well. So I want to see the Chargers kind of establish a little bit of a ground game so that it opens up the passing lanes for them going forward. It looks like Keenan Allen really loves to just be in a fucking Charger uniform and said, fuck Chicago. I'm going back to LA to play with Justin Herbert. He said, "Fuck this, I'm out." And he's been lighting it up, man. He's got 3 touchdowns so far, 231 yards. It's great. I gotta give a really, really big shout out to Quentin Johnson or Quinyon Johnston.
The rookie
Not the rookie, no, but
or sophomore?
they drafted him 2 years ago, and he didn't really see much of the field his rookie year. Last year, he dropped a lot of passes, a lot of them, but he has been stellar this year through the first 4 games. He has really stepped up and made improvements to his game, and it shows because now the Chargers can open up the field a little bit more, spread the ball out a little bit more, and really start getting those one-on-one matchups against the cornerbacks. And it's great, and it makes life so much easier for Justin Herbert going forward. And again, he's got a good offensive line, but I think that if they really want to kind of take this game over, they got to give it to their guy Hampton. What was it? Omari Hampton, the running back. He's got to be the one to kind of like start it up and get that chainsaw of an offense going. Now, are they again? Is it a chainsaw? No, they're not really like putting up godly numbers, right? But they're doing stuff. But Washington is much like the Giants, right? They're fine with playing ugly games and being uncomfortable. And the problem is though Washington seems that they just can't stay healthy at the moment. I got to give a good shout out to Marcus Mariota for kind of holding the ship down and getting that win over the Raiders 2 weeks ago. Falcons, that's tough, right? Going to Atlanta, that's a tough matchup. I know you and we did pick Washington to beat the Falcons, but it was hard for Washington to play catch up because again, they're just an old team. Like they are on average the oldest team in the league right now. And I mean there's something to be said about that, right? There's something to be said about veteran experience, but you kind of need that balance, you need that speed. You need that burst. And it seems that at least in the last game against Atlanta, they were just slow. They seemed very, very slow on both sides of the ball. So, how do you think Jaden Daniels is going to be looking coming out of this injury? From his knee, remember?
Yeah, it was a knee injury, right? It was like a strain or something.
Someone, I guess, like bumped or fell on his knee.
It's going to be interesting because, again, thankfully it wasn't a tear, so he's not going to be. He wasn't out long.
Yeah.
The problem is LA is very explosive on both sides of the ball for most of the game. Silver lining, they don't have to worry about Khalil Mack. They don't have to worry about him in terms
or
Joey Bosa, so they're pretty hurt too. The problem that lies is conditioning because of the youth. The youth and exuberance will beat the old age and experience. It's just, when it comes down to it, if you can't get away from someone or you can't keep up with someone, you're going to fall behind. Hopefully, Washington can figure a way to keep the speed and the explosion of the Chargers at bay.
Mm-hmm.
But that is also, again, it's going to be an uphill climb, coming back from an injury to go play a team that is just, they play at 100 miles an hour all game. It's a tall ask. It's the same. I don't want to say it's similar to Jackson Dart with his start. Like he was set up for failure and he wound up winning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
He was
yeah.
set up for total failure. I'm not going to say Jaden Daniels is set up for failure because this is his team, but this is not an easy game to come back to by
Mhm.
any means.
Yeah. No, especially in LA too.
Right. They're a ruthless crowd to play in front of.
Well, to be honest though, LA kind of plays away games at home because there's so many different, like all the fan bases flock to LA to SoFi Stadium, and it feels like the Chargers play like 17 away games because they
Right.
are just like, it's LA, right? Everyone's a front runner fan there for whatever team is hot, and I'm sure that there's going to be a huge surge in Washington fans there because they were pretty good last year. But again, it's not going to be tough, and you have what's going to make it very tough for Washington is they have to navigate around the quarterback of that defense for the Chargers in Derwin James. Derwin James is the strong safety for the Chargers, and he is an experienced veteran safety, and he's going to be there. And on the flip side, Justin Herbert's going to have to not navigate Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner's again experienced veteran middle linebacker who understands Dan Quinn's system to a T.
But he's
So
slow.
so these guys are going to have to really play a very interesting game of chess on both sides of the ball. And it's going to be who makes the first mistake and who makes the last mistake. And that's going to be pretty much the game right there, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm excited for this matchup again because again, Washington's not as dynamic as they were last year, but that doesn't mean they're any less dangerous. The Chargers right now, they came out the gate pretty hot. Kind of simmered down last week against the MetLife, but they got to keep pace because the Chiefs are right on their tail. And
Yes.
it was important for them to get that first win against the Chiefs week 1 in Brazil, but they got to go back to Arrowhead at that point. And that's going to be when the stakes are high. And if you don't have a good cushion of wins under your belt, it's going to be very tight. And for Washington, look, you got to chase the Eagles. The Eagles are still, again, top dogs in the NFC. And you have Dak, who's, again, playing MVP caliber football for the Cowboys. That's tough, right? The NFC East is a very tough division, and the AFC West is a very tough division. But one of these guys, they both need this win in order to kind of keep pace or keep the lead, respectively, within their own divisions.
Now watch this game turn out to be a fucking tie.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That feeling that you just felt in your gut is why I feel ties are bullshit.
Fair enough.
Ties
it,
are bullshit.
it will fuck with the standings later on. I promise you, it's going to fuck with the standings towards the back end of the year.
100%. 100%. I do not see a tie coming in this game, but again, if a tie was to come of this, the amount of waves that this would make when it comes to playoff standings, power rankings, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Ties fuck everything up.
Mm-hmm. I think it absolutely fucks everything up. I think when you look at the bigger picture of both of these teams, the Chargers right now, it's like they can't falter. Otherwise, the Chiefs are going to catch up to them. Whereas the Washington, they have a really steep hill to climb as the season goes on. So both have different kind of ways to get to the playoffs and different routes, and it's still just week 5. But they both of these teams kind of need this win. And I don't want to say it's a must win for both of these guys, but it's a kind of got to have it ish.
We kind of said it a couple of years ago that we're kind of at the point where every game is almost a must win because you lose more than one game in a row, you fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For the past couple of years, both the AFC and NFC has been split by half a game.
Yep.
So that's unbelievable. So that's where it's every game could be must win potential because every game has serious rankings,
Mm-hmm.
serious ranking differential. You lose 2 games, you drop 4 places, and you're out of the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
because everyone else just wins. So one game can make or break starting in a couple of weeks from now. So it's good to get into the mentality of must wins now.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's just October.
Right. But we've been calling week 1 playoff games for 3 years now.
Hell, the Ravens had one this year.
Right. And it was the one game that fucking Kansas City decided to put up 35 or more.
Oh man, yikes! Any final thoughts on this game?
This game has game of the week potential, in my opinion. This
Okay.
could turn out to be very, very exciting.
I'm excited for this one. I think this is going to be a very, very good game and a very underrated game on this week's slate of games. So, with that being said, CP, are you ready to make some picks?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's gonna be a
Okay.
fun week.
So, CP, last week our records were pretty off. Uh, I went 10-5-1, and you went 4-11-1.
Well, I have been wrong before.
I had to
How you
triple
know
count
we
that.
ain't
I'm like, there's
professionals.
no way he just fucking like it was just 4 games.
I
I'm sorry.
unraveled last week, apparently.
You gotta get you a get right week, man. So
Right, I need to get right. God damn.
well, I mean, we both whiffed. We're recording this on Friday because we typically record on Wednesdays. So the Thursday night game happened. We both picked the Rams, and the 49ers beat the Rams
Yeah,
26.
so we both start this week 0-1.
We start
God damn it.
0-1 this week, but good on the 49ers. The 49ers moved to 4-1. And the Rams are 3-2. So very interesting. So let's move to Sunday's slate of games in London. The Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns. The start of Dylan Gabriel for the Cleveland Browns. CP, who you got?
And it's also the return of J.J. McCarthy. You're going to have to give me Minnesota.
Ooh, I actually didn't know.
Yes,
JJ's.
he should be playing in this game. He was walking around without a boot during the week. So he should be in the lineup this week.
Okay. I'm going to take Cleveland.
You think the Dylan Gabriel area has begun?
It's not so much I don't have necessarily faith in Dylan Gabriel. I just know that Cleveland defense is nasty.
They're gross.
Myles Garrett is probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year this year, but he is making a case that he is the best defensive player in the league right now. So
I agree.
I think this is going to be very interesting. In London, you have a very interesting game between two very, I don't want to say like underwhelming teams, but hey, look, I think this is going to be good, and I think this is a good matchup for London.
Cool.
But let's move back to the States. Let's go back to New York, where the Dallas Cowboys play the New York Jets. CP, who you got?
I'm not going to think too much about this one. You're going to have to give me Dallas, but I am going to look at the Jets. Maybe they can turn around and play like they played week 1. But
Maybe.
They could be a stretch from now.
It's possible. I'm gonna take Dallas. I like Dallas in this matchup. Again, Dak's been very good as of late, and that Jets defense it's not the defense that we think it is. Teams can
Very deceiving.
Yeah, teams can move up and down the field on this defense. So Aaron Glenn, it's gonna be a tough matchup because Dallas's offense is really potent. But I'll take the Cowboys. Let's move to the Superdome, where the New York Giants take on the New Orleans Saints. Who you got, CP?
You have to give me the Giants on this one.
Okay. I I too am going to go with the Giants. Jackson Dart and that young Giants team. I think they are really have a surge of life to them after last week. So I'll take the Giants as well. Let's go to Indianapolis, where we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the Indianapolis Colts. Who you got, CP?
Hmm. You're gonna have to give me Indy at home, but I think this is gonna be a lot closer of a game than people expect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be taking a secondary close look at Ashton Genty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna take in Indiana Jones as well, but I do agree with you. I think this is going to be a little closer of a game. It could be a potential trap game for Indy, but we'll see. We shall see. Let's go to Carolina, where the Miami Dolphins take on the Carolina Panthers. This one's very interesting. I almost kind of wanted to talk this one, but CP, who you got?
Got Carolina with no Chuba Hubbard, and you got Miami with no Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Miami simply because Tyreek Hill isn't the only weapon in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and Chuba Hubbard's pretty much the only weapon in Carolina at the moment.
Okay, I'm gonna take Miami as well. I just think that they kind of have a better offensive approach than Carolina does, but I think this is going to be a good game regardless. Now let's move to Philadelphia, where the Denver Broncos come to play the Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles on this one, but I think that the Broncos are going to give the Eagles a run for their money.
I'm almost smelling upset here,
Ooh.
but I'm not gonna do it. I it's I can't see Philly losing against Denver right now,
Mm-hmm.
but there's always that chance. So I'm gonna say Philly, but do not be surprised if Denver is the one to put the first blemish on their board.
I wouldn't be surprised, and it'd be very interesting to see if they do. Okay, now let's move to Baltimore, where we have the Houston Texans coming to town to play my Baltimore Ravens, and we have Cooper Rush at starting quarterback, with a lot of people on the injured reserve list as well. So I am going to take my Ravens, but I am not too confident in it. But we shall again, Harbaugh, give Henry the Rock 20 to 30 times. I swear to God, that's the only way we're going to win this game. CP, who you got for this one?
I think I'm gonna take Houston because as much of a history as Derrick Henry has against Houston,
Mm-hmm.
he does not have a history against this Houston defense.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they're still going in majority healthy into
Mm-hmm.
this game. While you guys again have 16 on the IR, one of which being the focal point of your entire playbook.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough game, and I think that this is going to be a very ugly game for both teams, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, so CP, the first game that we talked about, Tennessee Titans versus the Arizona Cardinals. I'm curious to know who you got.
I think you're going to have to give me Arizona.
Ooh, okay.
I think Tennessee falls to 0-5.
I thought you were going to go Tennessee, I'll be honest.
Part of me wanted to, but it seems like Marvin Harrison Jr. has finally broken that mental block of being able to catch the ball in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if there's an emergence between them two this week.
Yeah, I'm going to take Arizona as well, but like you and I were talking about in discussion of this game, it's going to be a very ugly game. But Tennessee, man, just if you get two passing touchdowns, that's a win in my book for you guys.
Just get an opening drive touchdown.
Opening drive touchdown and get a passing touchdown, man. Get two, and then you're fucking golden.
Right.
Okay, let's move to Seattle, where we have a very great matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. CP, who you got for this?
I think you're going to have to give me Seattle at home. They're the healthier team, home field advantage. Going to be a very close knit game, but I think Seattle's going to take this one.
This one's tough.
This one is tough.
Seattle's playing very good under Sam Darnold. I'm still going to take the Bucks. I like the Bucks, and I think that they played very well against the Eagles. The Eagles is they're a very tough matchup for any team, but I like the way Seattle's playing. But I don't think Baker's going to be shaken by the 12th man. So I'll take the Bucks to beat the Seahawks. Let's move to Cincinnati, where we have the Detroit Lions taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. CP, I already have you down for Detroit, so I'm guessing you're taking the Lions.
Yeah, it's really this one is not going to be pretty. We saw a couple 50 pieces last year from Detroit. Could we see a 60 piece this year?
In Cincinnati?
Uh, I
I mean, if any team is capable of putting 60 on the Bengals in Cincy,
It's probably
it's
Detroit
Detroit.
because they just fucking put hammer to the floor.
Fucking belt to ass. And they're going to fucking.
Belt to cheek, bro. Belt to cheek.
My God. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. Let's move to Angeles, where we have Washington and the Chargers. Again, this is going to be a great game between these two teams, but I want to know, CP, who you got?
I think you have to give me the Chargers. I think they're playing to show that it wasn't an anomaly. That it was an anomaly playing the Giants, that they still are that structured team. And I think it's going to be a slow return for Jaden Daniels. This is not a good game to come back off an injury with.
Yeah, this it's really tough, right? It's especially with your knee when you're a mobile quarterback and your running game too is it's running back by committee. It's very tough, especially when Jim Harbaugh likes to ground and pound the whole time, and you got
And
just
blitz on defense.
and blitz on defense. Exactly. So I'm gonna take the Chargers as well, but again, like you said before, potential game of the week here, and I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah.
So, which brings us to Sunday night primetime division rivalry between the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. This should be pretty good. I'm excited for this one. But CP, who you got?
The more I hear about this one, the more it feels like it's going to turn into a fist fight. Like, it doesn't seem like the Patriots, you've been saying it for a couple weeks, that they don't roll over. They like to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is the year that Drake May finally comes into the league, what if they upset the Bills?
Puts the whole league on notice.
Puts the whole league on notice.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to stand with New England on this one. That they have.
Whoa.
Listen, it's low probability, quite an interesting possibility. Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, man. I like it. I'm going to take Buffalo. I'm not as courageous as you to take the Patriots in this, but I think this is going to be a great chess match between Mike Vrabel and Sean McDermott. These are two very well established coaches that know each other very well. Mike Vrabel's very experienced in his Tennessee days. I like this a lot, and I could see why they put this on Sunday night primetime. But again, I'll take the Bills. They just look too good, and they're just so hard to stop. Great game. So, which leads us to the final game of this week, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs coming to play Jacksonville Jaguars in Duval. Who you got, CP?
Duval.
Taking
You're
the
gonna have to give me Jags.
taking the
I'm gonna take the
Jags.
Jags.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jags. It seems like Travis Hunter's finally realizing that he can't play both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he dedicates himself more so on the offensive side because he's been doing well in the offensive playbook. The Chiefs scoring 30 or more, if they can do it 2 games in a row, I'll shut the fuck up. But I don't see that happening.
Oh, man, this looks really good of a game, and I'm excited for this. And I hope that we can discuss Jacksonville soon because they are a very team that's on the upswing. especially within that division, especially with all their young guys there. I want to get Mikey on the pod so we could talk
Yes,
Jags with him. I'm taking the Chiefs though, because I think last week against the Ravens, that was their get right game.
that was their wake up game. You think?
That was their wake up game. They got Xavier Worthy back. Travis Kelsey looked really good. Like Pacheco looks really good, and I think Mahomes he takes care of the ball very well. But man, this is going to be a really, really good game between these two teams.
The Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers are all on a bye week.
Yes,
We will not see them this week. Well, there you have it, guys. There's our picks for the week. There's the two games that we wanted to talk. Please leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the page. If you want to come on for an interview, the whole season is open from here to the end. Please contact either John or myself, and we will schedule you in to talk. But until then, this week should be fun, and this season is nothing but a roller coaster, and I love it.
great football ahead of us.